Bellatrix, Trixie.
Mm-hmm.
Strange. Sorry, it's really hard to say.
Yeah, I know.
His parents were second cousins, so that could have to
Stop.
do with why the family had a little madness in it.
Goodness
And
gracious.
he was very, very bad at practical jokes. Okay, that's serious. Remus, on the other hand, was a very lonely child, born to a very nice couple who suffered because his father, Leo, made one comment one time that ruined all their lives. I did not know that his mother was a muggle, full fledged muggle. Her name was
Cool.
Powell, and Leo saved her from what ultimately was a Bogart that she thought her fear. She went for a walk in the woods and it got really eerie. She thought things were looking at her, which they were because she was in a magical forest. She didn't realize it. And the Bogart fed on her fear so much that it turned into a big, scary guy who was about to attack her. And Leo saves her from it, but then doesn't tell her like that it was he says the word Bogart once and she's like, what the hell are you talking about? So he doesn't bring it up again, agrees that it was a big scary man that he saved her from, and they start dating. So it's not till he asks her
So,
to marry him and tells her the truth, but they have this perfectly normal, idyllic little life.
but I
And
have to throw in there, this is why women choose the bear. Thank you. Continue.
okay, all right, there you go. Um, he was a world renowned authority on non human spiritist apparitions. That's
Ooh.
what, like, he was a successful guy. He was brought in during Voldemort's first reign, first growth of reign, because of a case where a werewolf attacked and killed a child. The werewolf in question is Greyback, who comes in looking like a vagrant and says he doesn't know what they're talking about. And oh my God, there's wizards, they're real. And he says to everybody, look, I know what a werewolf is. Just keep him for 24 hours until the full moon and you'll see. None of his co-workers agreed. They made fun of him and drummed him out of there, let him go. He immediately kills the guard that let him go along with two friends, and then goes back and tells the whole werewolf pack that Leo called all werewolves. Where is it? It's a very specific line. Hold on. I'm going to say it the way it was written, if I can find it. I hate when I don't leave things where I can find them. Because he wants to protect his son, and his son he doesn't want called this later. Soulless, evil, deserving nothing but death. That's what he said about werewolves, which is why Greyback gets the entire pack after him. When they finally find him, what they do as a punishment is attack his child and turn his child into what he can now not call soulless, evil, deserving nothing but death. So they then move around for years and years and years because every time they get close to getting comfortable, Remus has to change and rumors start. So Remus lives a very lonely childhood, which is why when he gets to school and he finally has people who support him, he gloms onto them as his first ever friends of his age and feels pity for the other geeky, dorky guy, Peter. He's the one that brought Peter into the group because
Holy
I'm sorry for them.
son of a. I was not prepared for that story time with Mel.
So there you go. Now we know more about Remus and how he got to school to become friends with Sirius. And go.
No, thank you.
I
Sorry,
think
what I mean to say is, damn. Go
Yeah.
ahead, Tuesday.
I was gonna say I think poor Sam needs a minute to
I'm
digest all
buffering.
that she just learned.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a lot. Because if he hadn't done that, then Lupin wouldn't have been a werewolf. Then he may not have connected with Peter. Then Peter may not have been part of the group. Then all of like, what was his name? Leo, and what was his mom's
Leo
name?
and Hope.
Leo and Hope. That sounds like a cartoon detective agency.
You're not wrong. But I also was really blown away that he was Muggle born. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know why I never thought about it, but his
Who
mother
was
was straight
Muggle-born?
Muggle.
And it completely makes sense.
Wait. Who's Muggle born?
Remus. His mother, Hope Howell, is a Muggle.
Yeah, but his father's a wizard.
I'm
So he's
sorry.
half-blood, technically,
Half-blood.
but
Half-blood.
Gotcha.
But it,
Gotcha.
like,
but
it
he
never,
is very close.
nothing in Harry's story of Remus gives that impression.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
So
It's interesting though, if you think about, 11-year-old Remus, all of his life, because I think Remus was what, 2 or 3 when he was bitten? He was a baby, he was a toddler.
he was 5.
He was 5, okay. So as far as he can remember, he's been having this horrible thing happen, which at that point has only been 6 years. But it's been 6 years.
Right?
Jeez.
I can only, like, I would love to know what he said to his parents. That they said, okay, fine, we'll talk to Dumbledore and see if we can work something out.
That's
Because I know there's something in the story about how he got to Hogwarts. I can't remember. I remember reading this story, but it's been years.
So they actually were scared that he was not going to be, they assumed he was not going to be invited. They also were scared that there was so much dark activity around that he would then be blamed for it. So they were about to move again when Dumbledore arrived uninvited on their doorstep, and they tried to block his entrance because they were afraid he would find out about Remus.
That's right.
And 5 minutes later, he's eating crumpets and playing gobstones with the kid, and
Of
explained
course.
to him that he could set this up because apparently Greyback had boasted about it, and Dumbledore's spies knew what had happened all that time. So when it was time, he himself came to get Remus for school.
Wow.
Yeah.
Think about that. He didn't even go get Harry.
No. He didn't,
Yeah, right?
he didn't go get
Hold
any.
the fucking phone. He didn't go get anyone else except Remus. Did Remus
And wait,
no?
no, there is one other he went to get.
Yeah.
Tom Riddle.
Oh,
2
yeah.
very different boys.
Yeah. But so did Lupin ever know why he was bitten? Did he know it was because of a comment made by his father?
It
I
doesn't
think he finds out
explicitly say
eventually.
it, but I'm sure he found out. Like, his father was still alive.
Oh, that's true.
His mother, I can't remember. I'm looking to see how she died, but his mother was dead. His father was still alive when he graduated from school.
Hogwarts.
So
And-
you have first. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, and the reason he became a vagrant was because he didn't want to put his father's life in jeopardy by going back to live with him.
Yeah. So you have little baby Remus and little baby Sirius, both with very polarizing childhoods,
Right?
but then that react very differently to it coming into Hogwarts.
Mm-hmm.
And James, what?
But here's the difference. If Sirius didn't have James already as a friend, when his polarizing life happened and he stepped out, he could have ended up, he wouldn't have been a vagrant because he had money, but he could have gone a completely different way too.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what's interesting is I didn't appreciate till just now that neither Sirius nor Lupin had a home to go, felt they had a home to go home to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, we know that's a recurring theme, but I do want, it's never expressly said, but we know Sirius goes home with James in the summers.
Right.
He says that he moved in with the Potters when he was 16.
Yeah.
I think.
But it's never said if Sirius ever goes to the Potters.
Remus.
Oh,
And I'm curious, like, did he go like visit, but then got scared because he wouldn't stay longer than maybe 2 weeks because he's scared he followed the moon patterns? Or
I would say,
curious about
knowing the Remus that we know, he would have definitely have gone to visit. He definitely would have spent time with his friends, but he also definitely would not have been around any time near the full moon.
Yeah.
That's what
I
I'm
think he
thinking.
would have gone back to school.
I do think it's
Oh,
cute that something that,
being in the track. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh no, sorry, go ahead.
Just the idea of him going back to Hogwarts during those times, because that's the only place that he felt it was safe, and
Mhm.
going to the Shrieking Shack.
Yep.
Mhm.
I do have another interesting factoid. And this all, by the way, comes from wizardingworld.com. So it's not, this is as canon as it can be.
Yeah.
One development in the wizarding community that gave Remus hope, the discovery of the Wolfsbane potion. While this did not prevent a werewolf losing his human form once a month, it restricted his transformation to that of an ordinary and sleepy wolf. It had always been Remus's worst fear that he would kill while out of his right mind. However, the Wolfsbane potion was complex and the ingredients were expensive, and he had no chance to sample it without admitting that he was in fact a werewolf. So he continued his lonely, itinerant existence. He didn't take it until he got to, that's the only reason he accepted Albus's offer to teach, was because he was then going to finally get to take the Wolfsbane potion. So him forgetting, like in my head, and the reason this was so important, in my head, he had been taking the Wolfsbane for years.
Right. But you're right.
So
It makes
him
so much more
forgetting that
sense.
one time was like, holy crap, how much was happening to make him forget? But in reality, he had only taken it like 6 times.
Yeah. And
So
there's a couple times where we see Snape enter and he's like, oh, yes, is it that time already? Or something like that.
yes, like
Not
it's
a
not
regular.
habit for him yet. So
Yeah,
I found all of that very interesting.
Yeah.
I did too. I also find it interesting that part of me wonders if he didn't even attempt to make the Wolfsbane to take the Wolfsbane potion, or even make it himself, as punishment for James and Lily. Like Sirius stayed in jail and took it as, I might as well have killed them because I relinquished control. And they both kind of have a martyrdom tendency. And I wonder if
Self-flagellation. Yeah.
if part of Lupin, even subconsciously, was like, I don't deserve relief because my actions could have caused my friends to die.
I would
Yeah.
say that would absolutely, at least subconsciously, work in there, because after the death of James and Lily and the imprisonment of Sirius and the death, quote, quote, of Peter, literally ended all the friendships he had in one night.
Yeah.
Went
Oh my
back to
God.
being a lonely person who brought death and destruction in his mind everywhere he went. So yeah, I can totally see subconsciously he punished himself by not, even though he couldn't afford it, probably anyway. I can see him accepting that he shouldn't have it anyway.
Well, the funny thing is, he probably could have afforded it. Like, his father was world renowned. If he sucked it up and even went to his dad and said, I can't live like this anymore. Can I have some money to make this work, and make it on his own, make it in the basement? Like,
yeah, but we don't know
and
that his father stayed world renowned after he was laughed out of the Greyback.
true, but I don't think his father then lost all the money he made prior to.
True.
Because I'm thinking,
But that was also
one of the
years
things we know
prior.
about all these boys is that all of them come from well-to-do families.
True.
And so I think that's why the self-flagellation came to mind, because I'm like, if he sucked up his pride even a little bit, he could have done it.
Well, we see that also as poor Sirius is gone at this point, but his not sucking up if he sucked up his pride several times during Harry's year, there would be so many different things that would have fixed it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh
For
my God.
several instances where life could have been very different if Remus had just talked.